Grand Theft Auto 5 is a brilliant work of art released in 2013 by Rockstar and is arguably one of the biggest games in the world right now. With us having just got our first look at GTA 6, however, I thought now would be the best time to go over the lore of GTA 5, as the announcement of GTA 6 basically brings it to an end. So let's get into it because I have no more random shit to say. Our story begins in 2004 when a three-man band of bank robbers, Trevor Phillips, Michael Townley, and Brad Snyder, as well as a remote contact and planner named Lester, attempt to rob a security company in North Yankton. Things go downhill after Trevor kills a guard and the police are alerted. During a high-speed chase, the getaway driver is killed, leaving the others to go on foot after colliding with a train. Now here's where I need to stop and explain something quickly. Before this, Michael Townley had a family consisting of his wife Amanda and his two children Tracy and Jimmy. Michael didn't want to partake in these robberies anymore for his fear for his family's safety. However, he needed a plan to get away from Trevor, knowing that Trevor wouldn't let him leave. So before the previously mentioned robbery, Michael got in contact with a corrupt FIB agent named Dave Norton, who arranged a plan for Michael. The plan was for all of this to happen intentionally so that Michael could lure the crew to a specific spot. Dave was waiting there with a sniper rifle, the plan having been to kill Trevor. However, Brad walked in the way and was fatally shot. In order to prevent Trevor realizing the bullet was for him, Dave shot Michael too, wounding him and sending Trevor on the run. Michael's death was then faked and Brad's body was placed in a grave and placed for Michael. Then Dave had Michael and his family move to Los Santos under the new last name DeSanta in witness protection. So now Michael was presumed dead, living in a mansion in Rockford Hills, Los Santos with his family, and the law remained pretty empty for a little bit until Michael's son Jimmy decided to buy a car from Simeon's car dealership. Simeon, having been very corrupt, was charging $5,000 a month for a car that looked like this. Michael of course refused to pay this amount, so Simeon sent an employee by the name of Franklin Clinton to repossess it. Michael would then force Franklin to drive the car through the dealership window, ultimately stagnating Simeon's business. This is how Michael and Franklin met and they would later become friends. In the mission, marriage counselling, Michael found his wife Amanda sleeping with her tennis coach, and so Franklin and Michael went to confront him at his mountainside house.
She fucked a brick in my bed.
You bullshitting.
It wasn't like that.
You in?
Fuck it, I'm in. Let's roll. Let's get this motherfucker.
One thing led to another and this happened. But there was one problem. This wasn't his house, and it actually belonged to Martin Madrazo, who would track Michael down and demand he pays back the damages for the house. Michael, having retired and not enough money to pay for it, had one option, a score. He contacted an old friend, Lester Crest, who had helped him with robberies in the past, and the two planned to rob a jewelry store. However, via this robbery, Trevor, who had been living up in Sandy Shores, found out Michael was alive due to the use of his iconic catchphrase during the robbery.
You forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them.
Trevor would then track Michael down, somehow, and confronted him in his house. However, Michael was kind of saved by the bell as Jimmy told him that his daughter Tracy was on a show called Fame or Shame, and Michael knew she would embarrass herself publicly, so they both went to stop her and became friends again. Michael, Trevor, Franklin, and Lester began engaging in robberies again. It's almost like the old band was back together, however someone was missing, Brad. You see, Brad died in the previous North Yankton robbery as Dave accidentally shot him, we all know that, except Trevor didn't know that. In order to keep Trevor from seeking revenge against Michael and the FIB for Brad's death, Dave wrote letters to Trevor claiming to be Brad in prison when really Brad was buried in Michael's grave. One day Trevor found out. He confronted Michael and told him about how he wondered who was buried in Michael's place.
Up in North Yankton, exactly who was buried in your place?
He would then fly all the way out to North Yankton to discover Brad's body. Trevor would then realize it was all part of the plan for him to get shot.
I think the only thing that didn't go as planned was me showing up on your doorstep 10 years later.
Trevor and Michael then threaten to kill each other, but neither of them can bring themselves to pull the trigger until Cheng's men pull up and try to kill Michael, who is rescued by Franklin in the mission Fresh Meat. Now the reason they did this is because Cheng wanted to expand his business into Blaine County and further across the state. However, Trevor's business prevented this. In order to try to get Trevor to comply, he threatened to kill Michael because, let me check my notes real quick. He mistook him for his boyfriend. With Trevor having betrayed them and nowhere to be found, Michael and Franklin then pulled off the bureau raid without him. After all is said and done, Steve Haynes, a high member of the FIB who was involved in the heist as well as many previous operations, didn't want to be exposed, and so tried to have Michael arrested so he couldn't testify in court against him.
Arrest me for what?
For multiple counts of every fucking crime under the fucking sun.
Oh, well, then let me rephrase. Why?
Why?
Because you don't want me to testify in court.
However, this resulted in a three-way firefight between the SWAT team, the FIB, and Merryweather. At some point, Trevor returned to assist and afterward explained that he came back to do one last score. They planned to hit the Union Depository by disguising as workers and getting into the bank before loading the gold into their vans and then up and piss off with it, which Lester then melts and sells and they get millions each. However, this isn't the end of the trio's journey. I do need to stop quickly. I fast forwarded a lot of these things to keep focus on the main three characters. However, in order to make the ending make sense, I now need to focus on those things that I skipped. So first we have Stretch. He used to be in a gang with Franklin and Lamar and they were good friends for a while. However, Franklin didn't like Stretch all that much because of his reckless behavior.
Damn, man. I gotta spend my day with another middle-aged fool trying to recapture his youth.
Lamar had looked up to him from a young age and would constantly do anything he said. However, after they left the gang and moved on, Stretch felt betrayed that they had left him behind, so he set up Lamar. There is a gang within GTA 5 called the Ballers, if I'm pronouncing that right, who are rivals with Franklin's former gang. One day, Stretch convinced Lamar to meet at a Baller's hideout, saying they were interested in a peaceful drug deal. However, Lamar was captured by them. He was then rescued by Franklin, Michael, and Trevor, where Michael and Trevor spent a lot of time bickering.
Yeah, tell Trevor I said bite me.
Now we have Steve Haynes. Steve, as I mentioned earlier, is a high-ranking member within the FIB. With Dave's alliance with Michael and seeing what he could get away with, Steve began to use Michael, and later Trevor and Franklin, for numerous jobs he needed done but couldn't risk doing himself. Beginning with extracting Ferdinand Karimov from the IAA headquarters in order to get him to tell him what he told the IAA to get government funding first. Once all jobs that Steve needed done were done, he didn't need them anymore, and so tried to have Michael and Dave arrested to prevent them testifying against him. And how could we ever forget good old Devin Weston? One day, Devin comes to Franklin, Michael, and Trevor with a simple offer. They steal some cars for him, and in return, he gives them money.
Get out of the fucking car, you pint-sized prick!
You little shit, get the fuck out of here! Gone!
However, after multiple jobs were done and multiple cars were stolen, Devin Weston decided to have his lawyer Molly constantly reassure them that there would be wired payments eventually.
He is going to hold your money, invest it in his Alpha Fund, and make the funds available to you at a time as the transfer will not induce any undue attention.
One day, Michael, now a bit less of a crime lord, decided that he was going to drop crime and work on movies with a man named Solomon Richards. He worked with Solomon on his first movie, with Devin Weston being one of the shareholders. However, Devin planned to take away this movie to get a massive insurance payout and had his lawyer Molly take it. However, Michael, unwilling to surrender his first movie, chased her all the way to the airport where she would accidentally be killed. This understandably pissed off Devin just a teensy weensy bit, to the point that he tried to have Michael's family killed by Merryweather. Now that's all out of the way, let's now focus on the end of the game. Devin Weston goes to Franklin and demands that he kills Michael as his business came crumbling down after the previous event, and he saw that as all Michael's fault because he relied on Molly to keep it going.
Man, you got a death wish or something. Am I supposed to kill you now?
Oh, no, bro. Not me.
Nah.
However, at the same time, Steve Haynes and Dave demanded that Franklin kills Trevor, as he's too much liability to the FIB and it'd only be a matter of time before they were exposed for harboring him.
Hey, when the timing's right, you're gonna take old Trevor and put him out to pasture, homie.
Whatever happens next depends on the player's choice. You get three options, A, B, or C. A is to kill Trevor, and B is to kill Michael, but there isn't much to explain with those two options. Option C, however, being the canon ending, has a lot more to explain. It begins by setting up the FIB by announcing that Michael, Trevor, and Franklin will be at a foundry in order to have a big shootout for no particular reason. Then they decide to kill everyone that ever wronged them in the past.
And the way I see it, we only just begun to clean this shit up. We got a lot of old friends I think need to be re-educated.
Franklin kills Wei Cheng for Trevor, Michael kills Stretch for Franklin, and Trevor kills Steve Haynes, and the three of them together kill Devin Weston. This part was quite rushed, mainly because the ending itself is quite fast-paced and equally rushed. This marks the end of GTA 5 story mode, but then we have GTA Online taking place afterwards, where Franklin goes on to be a CEO of F. Clinton and Partner, where players can purchase buildings and shit, I don't know. And Trevor leads an organization called Trevor Phillips Enterprises, where he trades arms and drugs. Michael remains happily retired with his family, and Lester helps online characters with heists. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Good night, Sonny. Now you might be wondering, why am I a grandpa? Well, it's because in the time it's taken me to finally make this video, I have grown old. Anyway, in all seriousness, thank you for watching. Now time for the part of the video where I read my endnotes while 90% of people click off. First, thanks for 2,000 subscribers. Secondly, sorry this video took me so long to make. I have just been busy with Christmas, New Year's, and I also went on a trip to Iceland last week. I finally got this done though, so I'm happy. I also intend to improve my mic quality as I got this brand new headset, so fingers crossed it'll work. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, as if you like this, you'll probably like my other videos, as I basically just copy and paste my same video but focusing on a different thing. And overall, have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.